What made you choose the role of Kimberly in What If?
In What If, let's see, I loved Kimberly from the start. I had already loved the director and been wanting to work with him for a while, and then he sent the script over and was like, hey, kind of look at this role of Kimberly, tell me your thoughts, and I loved it. And, I really wanted to do it mainly because the script was great. I loved the director already, and I liked his vision. We have a lot of the same vision, and then, it was kind of a plus that Kimberly was a sassy character, and I haven't really got to play that before, and I always like expanding myself.
What was your favorite scene to film?
My favorite scene to film, it might have been the crying scene, which sounds weird, but I really like, whenever I'm able to kind of go places. And that one was a really good one. It was the first scene that we filmed, actually. So it was kind of, interesting to just go from a Sweet Life set, from a Disney set, and fly out, and the next day be on set with a completely new group of strangers and just be crying. That one was really cool. It was very surreal, and I also loved a lot of the stuff that I got to do, with the family. It was really fun.
How well do you relate to Kimberly on a personal level?
On a personal level, I think I relate to her pretty well. I mean, I know what it's like to kind of be, every teenage girl has those things that we go through, and obviously we're all different, but we all have kind of the same things that run through us all, and it's kind of like, feeling overlooked and feeling misunderstood and imposed upon by, you're like, why are my parents doing this, and kind of like, I definitely understand those teenage girl type things that Kimberly goes through, and I know what it's like to move to a new place and to, try to be making friends and things like that. So, yeah, I think pretty well.
Did you do anything special to prepare for the role to help you get inside the character's head?
Did I do anything? I watched a couple movies with sassier characters, because the thing about Kimberly is that she's not like a mean girl, she's not like, just a one-dimensional, just kind of sassy girl. She's a very good sister, and she tries to be a really good daughter, and so it was really important to me to try to make her likable and, human, and really show her human side. So I watched Mean Girls a little bit and kind of paid special attention to the moments where you really, felt for Rachel Adams' character, Regina George, and a couple of those characters, and I was really captivated by that, and so that was kind of, I watched a few movies, and, I just flew to Michigan.
How did you play Kimberly differently than you played the role of Bailey on The Sweet Life on Deck and Abby in 16 Wishes?
When I do Bailey is very much a character for me, and so I very much slide into her. I kind of, it's like, you put a jacket on, that's kind of how I do with Bailey. I just kind of, put this character on, and, I sit straighter as Bailey, and my eyes are a little bit wider, and, I'm just a little, I lead kind of with my head as far as just being eager and then body posture and things like that, and, my voice is a little more controlled, whereas with Kimberly I played, almost a full year before I played Abby, but I think I played them both kind of similarly in that it was really, a lot of it was myself. Although with Kimberly, I tried to make her not as much quiet, but just kind of grumbly, as far as when she would say things. She would just kind of breathe them, and, she wouldn't really make a big point of saying something, even if it's if she's really upset and she's yelling, it's still at normal pace at the loudest. So I think that she's kind of more internal, and I played her that way. And Abby, her mannerisms and everything were a lot like me. I didn't even try. When I was doing that movie, I didn't even try to put on a different character or anything like that. I just kind of I had certain quirks that I knew were more like Abby, and then the rest of it I just kind of played, how I would normally play it, and didn't really try to think about it.
How long did it take you to film the movie? On your website it says that you filmed it during your week off.
Yeah, what if I was filming for exactly a Friday and flew out. I took a red-eye flight out to Michigan. And I got the fitting the next day and kind of prepared for it. And then the next day I was on set and filming. And filmed for hours and hours a day. It was weird. Sometimes I would work for like 5 hours straight, just nonstop, and then sit in my trailer for like 2 hours. And then, it was just kind of random. But I worked on that for 5 days. Then flew on back to Hollywood and continued doing Sweet Life.
How did it feel to be working on a film with such an inspirational message?
It was good. It was really cool. I've always known going into the industry that I want to do roles and choose roles and projects that kind of make a difference. And every project that you work on makes a difference. Everything that you say and every action that you do and every way that you use your tools and your presence, kind of, whether you're in school, in Texas like I was before I booked Sweet Life, or whether you're like acting out feature films on the big screen, there's still a really big influence. And so I really wanted to make sure that I could use, every breath that I breathed to just be able to make a difference, make a good difference. And I really have been wanting to do something with a very inspirational message for a while, and that was something that I loved about Bailey, is that she was kind of inspirational as far as, like, you can follow your dreams, and you can go out and chase and make things happen for yourself, and, even if you feel like you're different in your town, maybe that's because you're meant for bigger and better things, and don't ever, put boundaries on yourself, even if other people do. And that's something that I think that Bailey really communicates to a lot of people. And so after, after Sweet Life, I'm like, am I going to find a good project out there with another really good message? And What If came along, and I just had to do it because I was just so obsessed with it. And it was actually really funny because initially it was seen as just this little indie faith-based film that would be in like 2 Christian bookstores, like tucked somewhere in the Midwest. I just didn't even know it was going to go anywhere, and there were people who were like, why would you even take this project? It's so, like, small. And I'm like, but it's not. It's got a really big impact. It's got a really big message, and, in some ways it's bigger than anything I've ever done before, and I really want to do it, and I was so glad that I got that opportunity.
What were some of the most memorable or funniest experiences on set?
One of the most memorable or funniest experiences, for me, we have this scene where Kevin, who plays my dad, and I are playing football, and it was so last second. We're all just hanging out outside of the house, kind of on the street right out of our trailers, and Dallas, the director, there's a guy who's holding like a full-on handheld video camera, and Dallas is like, here. And he's like, put your sweater on, and I put my sweater on, and he throws us the football, and he's like, now go play. And so we're like playing, and they're like, we're just kind of, it's him and I, and we mess with each other anyways, Kevin and I. So it was funny to just be like, messing with each other, and we had already had this instant daddy-daughter relationship, and it was a really interesting scene, the way that it came about. It was so quick, and it was so organic that, like, before we even knew it, we were in the middle of the scene, and it was in the movie, and it actually ended up being one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It's just in a montage for a moment, and I loved it.
How was the set of What If compared to the set of The Sweet Life on Deck or 16 Wishes? Was there a different feel to the atmosphere?
Yeah, there was definitely a different feel, to all three. I feel like any set that you go on is going to be different. I mean, we film on the same lot as Wizards of Waverly Place and Sunny with a Chance, and we're all Disney shows with kind of like ensemble casts and things like that, and still you can walk onto all of those sets and get a completely different feel. And that's one of the things that I loved about Sweet Life is I think that going into it, I didn't really know how special it was. I had been on sets before that were like awkward and uncomfortable. Going on to Sweet Life, everyone's a family. Legitimately a family. Everyone's not like sugar sweet to each other because they're so comfortable with each other. They've been working together for 6 years that it's literally like, hey, what's going on? How are you? Good to see ya. Everyone's just so very chill. Usually with a movie, kind of a 16 Wishes, it was like a 6 week experience, so everyone was kind of on their best behavior. We were all kind of still getting to know each other and settling in, but it was so, someone told me, my acting coach, who actually plays Miss Tutwiler on Sweet Life, I went to her and I was like, you know, we kind of worked on the script for 16 Wishes, and I said, hey, is there anything that I need to know on a personal level? Because I've never been the star of, you know, of anything kind of this big before. What is something that I should know? And she goes, you set the tone. You know, if you're having a bad day and you feel completely uncomfortable and you feel sick and you walk in there and it's cloudy and you just don't say very much, it's going to reflect, not only in the work, but in the crew, in the feel. It's just all going to, you know, it's all going to reflect, and then you're going to be able to see it. And so for me, walking into 16 Wishes, I was so excited to set the tone every morning, make sure I said hi to every person, you know, make sure it was always like, oh, hey, I love your shoe, you know, like, it was just very real, but it was very, you know, I made sure that I wanted, because I had control over the feel of it. In many ways, with What If, I didn't really know that I had control over anything, so I kind of went in there, I was just, you know, I love, it's the weirdest thing to say, but I love just being nice to people on sets. I feel like it's so underrated. I feel like not enough people are just, like, genuinely good people to their crews, and they don't even realize, especially actors, don't realize that, like they're, literally everything that they stand in front of the camera and do is completely pointless without the crew, and they're such a big part of everything, and you should really, like, respect them. And so walking on to What If, I had such a respect for everyone, and it was already such a family and such a chill atmosphere. And what was funny was going from Sweet Life, which was very young and very kind of colorful. There's like colors and there's like the moral of the story, and everyone had known each other for a long time. Going to this set in the Midwest full of adults, I was literally, it was myself and another girl, and we were the only, like, minors on set. It was just very mature and adult related and things like that, and so it was great to kind of, the thing about that is that it would make sense that was a very uncomfortable environment, whereas it wasn't. Kind of walking on, everyone was already in their groove. They knew how to relate to one another. They knew how to get the job done in a very quick and time-efficient way, and yet still be super cool and have so much fun. I mean, I think that I maybe, like, laughed and just kind of had less pressure on What If than, like, any, you know,